What's going on, everybody? James, Online Car Show. Just thought I'd do a live stream for the Sunday on, where to find car shows. And that seems to be a big topic or question I get a lot is, how do you find the car shows that you find? And, where can I find car shows and what outlets can I use? And I just kind of wanted to do a live stream on it. I thought it'd be a great subject and, get any feedback from you guys might have or places or outlets you use. I know this can vary by, genre car you have. And not only that, but, area of the world you're in. So I guess let's start off. First thing I guess I would consider when, thinking about what, where to look for a car show or a car meet is what kind of, meet or car show. Are you looking for a car meet or are you looking for a car show? Because there's a big difference there in the two. Car shows typically are a lot more formalized. They're typically going to be a paid entry. There's going to be trophies involved, typically food, music, and it's going to be an all day event. It's going to start usually, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. and go on to 2 or 3 p.m. So be prepared if you're, thinking about going to a car show, you're going to have to pay an entry fee and you're going to be there a good 5 or 6 hours if you enter your car at the least. So just know that going into it, they will be more formalized, and so forth. They'll, tend to be more amenities at the car shows than car meets, but that's also depending on the kind of meet and how big the scale of it is. And I guess that gets on to, where to find car shows and, what outlets I use to find car shows. And I guess the big thing I would look for with car shows is they're usually attached to clubs. So you can usually search club websites. Like one club I used to be in was Corvette Owner Club. Make sure. All right. Owners Club of Houston. Just search Google Corvette Owners Club of Houston. And if you don't know clubs in your area, search Camaro clubs, Corvette clubs, Mustang clubs, Charger clubs, whatever it is. But you can typically go to a car show website and, well, they've redone their website since the last time I've been here. So this might make it a little more interesting, but you'll get a calendar of event. Like they have a car show coming up Saturday, November 13th this year, 2021, Cirrus Wheels Open Car Show. Other outlets you may use, there's, for another example, West Houston Muscle.com, another club that hosts a lot of muscle car type shows, early and late models, so newer muscle cars, and, classics. There's Sean there that runs the club, but it's a really nice club, and they do a ton of events here in Houston. Hot Rods and Harley Car Show, May 15th. Caffeine and Chrome. See, here's a whole bunch of shows coming up. Crawfish and Cars. So that's a really big outlet as far as you can utilize. Search your local car clubs, find out what shows they've got going on, and that'll help you to, to find a show. You do want to be really careful sometimes, like to make sure, like me, I'm in a, what I consider a, a newer Corvette. It's not a classic. So it's 10-year-old Corvette. So I want to make sure that it's not just a classics only. I see a picture of a, old classic car on the front. I want to make sure this is an open car show before attending, because the worst thing you do is go to a show and it be a totally different genre car than you even have. But so be really careful of that. There's usually websites, posters, whatever associated to it. The other thing with big car shows is mailing list. You can get on different mailing lists, like West Houston Muscle has a mailing list. they send out. There's another club here in Houston. I can't think of it right now. That sends me. I think it's Northwest Vet and Rods. Those that are in Houston, Northwest. I think it's Northwest Vet and Rods. They send me a newsletter in the email, and I've gone to a bunch of the car shows off that and had really good luck. So there's different outlets you can use to to find the car show. Another one I've found in the past, Camaro. I think it was Camaro Kid. Let's go. Camaro Kid car shows. Camaro Kid 1967.com. He does car shows in Houston. Just kind of a listing for it, and it's been really nice too. He keeps it up to date, which is nice. Like, here's a reschedule he's paid attention to, and I don't know who this guy is. I'm sure I've seen him at car shows around town and didn't even know it, but I really like this outlet as far as official car show type events. So that pretty much covers, I guess, my outlets I had written down for searching up official car shows. I just another thing with official car shows is you can utilize Google itself. So Houston car shows 2021. Let's just see what shows up. West Houston car show. There's a high school car show going on April 24th. Houston Auto Show shows up. Custom truck and car show. You can search more events. So you can use Google itself even to find official car shows, because they'll usually have websites attached to them or flyers, or they're trying to get it out there because it's either a fundraiser for charity or a high school, whatever the case may be. They're trying to push the car show. So that covers car shows itself. One other thing. So I guess that brings us on to actual car meets. These are a totally different animal than the car shows. And how you would search for them, or how I personally search for them, is totally different than it is with the official events. One thing to consider is the time of day and the type of event. Indifferent from car shows, car meets you can typically show up to whenever you want. They'll go on from 6 p.m. to midnight, whatever. They're usually at night instead of the morning. But I mean, they can vary. And I would put cruises in this category too, because you would search for them about the same way you would for car meets. But you can typically show up to them whenever you want, and you can leave whenever you want. There's no trophies. There may or may not be amenities there. There may not be bathrooms. There may not be drinks. There may not be food. There may not even be music. And it may not even be illegal. I mean, some car meets are put on just in parking lots, after hours at shops or whatever, or Best Buys, wherever the case. But so they vary in size in the amenities involved. You may go to one all the way down from somebody posted on Instagram, some car meet going on in a Denny's parking lot. And it's a really good time, and I'm not knocking that. I go to plenty of those. But when you go to those, you're not going to have a bathroom. You're not going to have you may have somebody out there with a jukebox that brought some music, but usually you may not have music. You're not going to have food and drinks, and so they're a little bit different kind of car meet. And they can also scale from that small size all the way up to like Houston Head Turners partnering up with Bombshells and doing these full-on car shows with a restaurant and having, the restaurant's bathrooms, the food, music going on, drinks going on. News crew even showed up at their car meet. So the scale of car meets varies very greatly. Typically, the bigger, more sanctioned ones will be a little bit more like car shows, and that they'll advertise them, months in advance sometimes. And you can typically get a pretty big notice on the big ones. Uh, so they kind of really range, in size, what's going on at them, and they're a lot more open. And you don't just park your car there, pay for an event, then have to wait for a trophy system at the end. A car meet, you pull up, you just have some good times with your friends, meet some new friends, enjoy some cars, and whenever you're ready to go, get in your car and go. That's the story to it. Or if it's illegal, whenever the cops show up and break it up. But uh, so that pretty much covers, I guess, the car meets. The oh, let's see what I got here. Oh, price. Car meets. I never went over price with you guys. Car meets are typically free, at least to attend. There may be one place that you get charged, and if they have VIP parking, which is if you have a nicer car, like I don't want my car getting banged up in the back of a parking lot with, like, somebody's mama's Honda next to me that doesn't care and they're out there drifting or whatever. So I'll typically pay for, it's like $10 or something at most of these car meets. You pay for a VIP spot. You park up near the front where all the action is, and you get to keep a little more eye on your car, and there's more people around to help keep an eye on your car. If you have a nicer car and you're going to, a late night car meet, I would recommend going ahead, get the VIP spot, and just deal with it. It's like $10. Who cares? Sometimes only $5. Uh, and that comes down, I guess, how to search for car meets. This one's a little bit bigger in spectrum, and not so fine tuned in your searching. And one thing I kind of miss with both shows is one advantage you can take out of, or the biggest way to learn about some of the biggest shows and meets, actually, and I miss this with car shows, is word of mouth and going to shows. It's like you go to shows and you find out about more shows a lot of times. I don't know how many shows I've gone to and left the car show or left the car meet with 2 or 3 flyers in my hand for future car meets coming up. So that's one big thing, and just talking to people at the meet that you may meet, talking to organizers, finding out who's organizing it, finding their website. They may do a monthly car meet, like Eat Sleep Car Meets, EC or ESCM in Houston, and Crew on Deck. For a while there, they were doing monthly meets at Kim's Tea House, so you can just keep up with them, and that's one big thing. And also, of course, people showing up at that meet advertising other meets. So just keep your eyes open for stuff like that at the meet. Car meets, the biggest outlet, I would say, out of everything. Google is honestly going to be hard to use because it's really hard to search for meets and stuff like that through Google. The biggest outlet in finding car meets that I've honestly used is Facebook groups and Instagram. There's Facebook groups out there that have like car meets Houston, something like that. You could search for, get in that group, and then you'll know you're in an active one. You see recent posts, and there'll be 3 or 4 meets going on every week of the year here, at least here in Houston. So that's one big outlet you can use. I personally use Instagram a lot over Facebook. On Instagram, I found there's plenty of pages that promote car shows for local and statewide. There's Texas Show Promoters. He's a big one on Instagram I pay attention to. There's car meets in Texas. I think there's a car meets in Houston. So you can pretty much go through the Instagram users. And one thing I kind of did was just type in car meets or car shows or Houston car shows or Houston car meets and see what accounts show up. Usually if they're that type of Instagram account, their name is going to be pretty relevant to that. So that might help you in finding it. Search hashtags, Houston car events, hashtag Houston car events, hashtag car meets, whatever city you're in. Maybe it's not Houston, but whatever. And that'll give you a pretty good idea. you can start keeping up with a couple pages that you can use as a go-to for finding your car meets and so forth. The biggest one I would say people use though is the Facebook groups. I just personally don't use Facebook. So that kind of covers a lot in a small amount of time. I wanted to make this just kind of a quick live stream for my first one and answer a huge question that I get a lot, and that's, you know, how to find car meets and car shows. And it's kind of people ask me that question, and it's like, okay, how much time you got? Because as you can see, we're 15 minutes into this video so far, and I've done nothing but ramble on about where to find car shows and car meets. So it's a really big subject, and honestly, it depends also on what kind of car you have, what kind of car meet you're looking for, the genre of car you're in, or meet you're wanting. And you just kind of learn that, and that may change. Honestly, what I use here in Houston could be different than what somebody's using in San Diego or, you know, New York or wherever. So it could also change by, you know, the car culture in that area. But I guess that's really it. That kind of covers how I go about doing it. I know it's kind of a long subject, but I'm going to post this video for other people to watch. And, you know, if y'all have an avenue that you use maybe in your area, please go ahead, type it in the comments, type what area you're in, and type what you're using. You know, give them a shout out if it's an Instagram page or, you know, website, whatever. Just share with people. And that's the biggest thing, like I said, is word of mouth. And once you get on to finding that little, you know, nook or cranny that gives you good advice, like West Houston Muscle does a lot of really good shows, so I keep up with them. Car Meets in Houston post a lot of good local car meets, so I keep up with him. So I've got kind of my go-to favorites in the group, if you know, and you'll kind of develop that over time. You know, what you have to do is get out there and try them. You know, if you find a car meet here, don't let something discourage you. You know, go out, check it out, see what it's all about. You might find you actually like it, and just kind of try everything and try all the flavors before you determine what your flavor is, because it's a good time. You'll have a good time doing it. But you see me, I'm an, you know, older guy, and I still go to car meets. You know, car shows are different. There's all ages at them, but you know, a lot of older guys are scared to go out to car meets, and I just think that's crazy. We're all out there to, you know, have a good time and enjoy the cars. We all have the same passion, and I don't see what the problem is with that. And I think people need to be less scared about that. Just get out there and enjoy it. But anyways, I guess that's really all I got this Sunday. I don't really let me see if I can get a bigger screen here for y'all. Don't really have a whole lot else to talk about. I'm going to have, I guess, as far as future videos here, I am planning on doing a full review on my Thrustmaster steering wheel setup I'm using in sim racing. So be on the lookout for that. We've got a sim frame on the way, so I'm of course going to do a review on that. I'm also going to review the Thrustmaster shifter that I've got, and I really like this thing, but we'll get into that in a review. And I'm planning on changing the oil in the Corvette. I don't think I've ever posted a dry sump oil change video and kind of show you guys how I do it. So I'm going to plan to do that as well. Look for car shows, car events, and try to post y'all some of those in the upcoming. So we've still got a bunch on the schedule coming up, a bunch to do. So be sure you don't miss any of that. Hit that like and subscribe below. I hope everybody has a great week, and thank y'all so much for watching my live stream today.